In particular, today's discussion is about the Executive Forum. It's one of the services we have at Executive Coaches of Orange County, and we would like to dive deeper. Linda, tell us a little bit more. We kind of hear about nonprofits and how the leadership often is described as lonely on top. Give us your perspective. You've been in the shoes of the executive director, CEO, as well as some of the things you're doing now. Why is it that the nonprofit leadership is typically described as lonely on top?
Yeah, absolutely. It really was a surprise for me having been a CEO in the for-profit environment. And when I came to the nonprofit world, the whole structure of the nonprofits are so different in terms of a volunteer board. There's certainly more, I think, consensus-driven leadership style. The board, although you report to them, because they're all volunteers and most of them from the community, they're certainly not subject matter experts. So they really look to the CEO for that. While you're providing the mission and the strategy to the staff, you certainly don't want to give them any cause for fear, although I was very transparent, of course. So you realize quickly you're sort of in the position on an island by yourself, and you look around for people that can give you some advice and help you in times of crisis, and it's pretty hard to find. And what happened to me is early in my tenure, I was approached by a group of women to join an inaugural executive director or CEO leadership forum. It was all women, but regardless. And I took the chance, and honestly, I tell people I was in my position 11 years. I couldn't have done it without them. Absolutely wouldn't have made it through those 11 years without this group of fellow executive directors, and it was facilitated by a woman who was the CEO of a nonprofit as well as a licensed clinical social worker. So that was a great addition as well.
Wonderful. It's always great to have a support group, so I can definitely relate to that.
Unbelievable. My group was structured off Vistage. I think people are familiar with that component. The woman that facilitated our group had a scholarship to Vistage, and she found it very helpful, with the exception of the rest of her cohort was not in the nonprofit environment, so that makes it a little bit different.
Got it. I guess what was the original mandate or the gap that the ECofOC Executive Director or CEO Forum was created to fill originally a couple of years ago?
Actually, I believe the group that I co-facilitate with John Benner was formed over 10 years ago for the exact purpose I'm talking about, to give the leaders, the nonprofit leaders, a space to come and talk about their challenges, to offer support to one another. One of the other amazing things is the resources that all of the nonprofits readily share. I think sometimes we think it can be a competitive environment because oftentimes we're competing for resources, perhaps. And I certainly did not see that in the forum that I was in, and not at all in the current forum that I co-facilitate. In fact, our group shares resources, shares grants, gives tips. Someone will ask, do you have a policy for this? And 5 people will respond. We talk about HR issues. We talk about where to find employees. We talk about board members, even as honest as perhaps sharing board members that move around organizations that may not always be the most helpful. So it really is a transparent group.